I also like the preeminent football mind in all of the United States of America, Kay Adams of the Up and Adams show. You might remember her from Good Morning Football. And guess what? She was out at Houston Texans training camp in Ohio this week. And if Kay Adams is recognizing real, if she's calling DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caserio iconic, you got to listen. So let's get it up, guys. Texans hype, it's back. It's time for a Deep Steel Blue Pill.
Little blue pills can take 30 minutes to get you ready for excitement.
So that's why we're giving you a big, deep steel blue pill.
You take the blue pill. Believe whatever you want to.
Get it up for the Texans and take this deep steel blue pill.
And by the way, she'll like it too.
Texans Swarm!
Sean was so excited he cut you off.
I know.
His deep steel blue pill was so ready.
Couldn't wait to pop that blue pill.
Couldn't even wait for you to finish.
It was premature.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he was just telling me to guess at effing point, and understandably so. I was building it up.
I was so excited.
How can you not be excited when Kay Adams is talking about our beloved Houston Texans? And speaking with our beloved Houston Texans, here she is asking DeMeco Ryans about a J.J. Watt comeback?
Is there room for J.J. Watt on this team? TJ kept the door open.
Yeah.
Caserio kept the door open.
Right.
Now you better close the door, coach. You got the opportunity right here.
JJ knows. Anytime he's ready, I'm ready.
What does that mean?
If he's ready. JJ's been out now for, 2 years? When you stop playing football for 2 years, it's hard to come back.
So you're saying that knowing it's an open invitation, but he's probably not going to take it.
It's always open for JJ. I'm never closing that door.
We're leaving the door open. Appreciate the time, coach.
Okay.
I can't believe we're still doing this, but
I'm cool with it.
I am too.
Look how ripped he looks.
Well, part of me still thinks he's actually coming back. Like, I can't, because they won't close the door.
I feel like if it were going to happen before the season, with DeMeco Autry getting suspended, it would have happened by now. The idea that it'll happen in the middle of the season, I have a hard time buying into that, barring some sort of catastrophic injuries to the Houston Texans defensively. They would also have to be, I would imagine, close to contention for Watt to want to come back, right? Like, he's not going to come back if things hit the fan, and you would think that things would hit the fan if enough injuries happen. So I think it's very unlikely, but I do want it to happen, and I think every Houston Texan fan wants it to happen too.
I think DeMeco Ryans wants it to happen. Hearing him talk about it, where she goes like, what was it where, she says, like, you can just shut it down right now. And he goes, not going to shut it down. But he doesn't think he's ready. If he's ready, I'm ready. Like, that's basically what he was saying. If J.J. Watt called him and was like, I want to be on the Texans, DeMeco Ryans would be like, welcome back. And I appreciate that.
Maybe he doesn't want to play football on Christmas. Like, maybe that's what's like really holding this up. That like he wants to be a good dad and good husband and doesn't want to be away from his family on Christmas. So J.J. Watt's going to come back week 18, January 5th, versus the Tennessee Titans when they wear the Oilers uniforms, the last game of the season.
If he comes back and they put him on the PUP list, then that would give him a 6-week ramp-up period. And theoretically, that ramp-up period could conclude right after the Houston Texans finish their third game in 10 days. That's how I would time it. I would not want to play 3 games in 10 days after being out of the league for 2 years.
Or do a load management on one of the games where it's like Kawhi on a back-to-back where it's like he's not playing this game.
Well, okay, let's say he comes back. Do you guys expect him to be on the field for more than just 3rd and 10?
No.
Like that's what it is, right? Like
Derek Barnett from last year. Jerry Hughes.
Yeah, he's Derek Barnett. He is,
but a very cool Derek Barnett.
Yes.
No offense to Derek Barnett, who is cool in his own way, but he's not J.J. Watt, Houston royalty.
A lot more cool Instagram photos from J.J. Watt being back on the Texans in the new uniforms too.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna be swarming so hard.
Cal McNair wants him to come back.
Cal McNair definitely wants him to come back because even though
those H-Town Blue,
I'm sure they're selling J.J. Watt. I think that's one thing, okay, teams do that I think is really bizarre. Like at some point, I'm sure you'll be able to buy an H-Town Blue Andre Johnson jersey. I think that's super strange because he never wore that jersey, but they're going to do it. But if J.J. Watt plays, those jerseys are going to fly off the shelves.
I'm going to get one of those red ones.
Oh,
JJ Watt read one?
yeah.
Pull on parade, dude, with the horns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, him with the big flag leading.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We need him back.
Yeah.
Just for content.
I can see why DeMeco Ryans refuses to shut the door on it.
If it happens, I don't want to know in advance, though. I want it to be one of those things where it's a wrestling style entrance as the last man introduced.
Oh,
Glass breaks.
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
I mean, the stadium would lose its mind. It would absolutely
Did they
go
have a Sunday night
crazy.
game late in the season that they can do this?
I mean,
'Cause
that
it
would-
also has to be a Sunday night.
I mean,
The Christmas Day
well.
game, he's dressed up as Santa, and then you
Rips
see
off-
Santa on the sideline, and then all of a sudden, like, wait, that's John Cena's music.
rips off the beard, rips off the Santa
Yeah.
suit. No, oh my God.
Or you play, I guess you would play, what's the song that they played back in the 2011, 2012? Was it Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine? Yeah, that's the one that you play.
I don't think so. I think we need. Yeah, I think you need some Fort Minor. Just like stadium.
He gets rolled in a tire.
Yeah.
Hey, November 18th, Monday night against the Cowboys.
It's in Dallas though.
Oh yeah, dang it.
So the week before is
before.
Sunday. The week
Yeah.
before is Sunday Night Football versus the Detroit Lions. That's week 10.
Coming off a mini bye the week before, they play on Thursday.
I like it.
Like Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter, JJ Watt
We'll play some.
on one defensive line.
We'll play some Will Anderson. Daniil Hunter's talking about Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter a little bit later in the show. We got so many deep steel blue pills for you before they play a game. Hopefully they live up to this hype.
Well, that's the other. Like you said it though. The Texans have to be, I think, very clearly in the playoffs.
Yes, 100%.
I think they have to secure a first round home playoff game at a minimum before he comes back.
Yes, they have to be, I think, leading the division or maybe like tied in the division
I
for
think
him
they
to
might
even
need
entertain
more than
it.
that. I think you might need to be the 1 seed for JJ Watt to come back.
DeMeco Ryans also, with Kay Adams, gave an answer that I love because there's nothing in the world that I hate more than this obsession that all these dorks, all these incels, all these virgins online have with the idea of who is a wide receiver one. Here is DeMeco speaking with Kay Adams about that.
Are y'all operating, though, in this offense without a number one wide receiver?
Who's number one? Whoever gets the ball, that's number one, right? I think when you have as many talented guys as we have, Tank, Nico, Steph, I mean, you have three of the top guys in the league at the position. So it's just a matter of, CJ just going through his process and hitting whoever is open. That's number one.
Every single effing time that I hear somebody talk about the idea of a wide receiver one, my brain slowly dies just a little bit. I hate this obsession that we have. Fantasy football has ruined the coverage of the NFL. Guess what you do in football? You throw the ball to the open guy. Oh, you need to give a certain guy amount of touches? Yeah, if you're a loser team and if you grew up rooting for a loser team, you're going to think about this idea of what a wide receiver one is. No, throw the ball to the guy who is open every single play. My God, wide receiver one. Shut up. I hate this. I'm so tired of it.
I think a lot of it now, Paul, is it's teams that don't have a clear, really talented wide receiver or quarterback. Like that's when they start to put QB1, wide receiver one. When like a situation like this, like it doesn't matter.
But no one even says wide receiver one either. No one even says that. All of a sudden we started saying QB1. No one has ever said QB1
It's all
until the last
fantasy.
5 years. That never happened in a football game. No, it was because of a random episode of Friday Night Lights.
Oh.
And by the way, they stopped doing it on Friday Night Lights. This is where it goes back to. It's Peter Berg's fault, to be perfectly honest. And we got to this mode now where we're doing it with wide receivers. Who cares? Stats do not effing matter. I hate that we have gotten to this point where we're like, who's the wide receiver one? Shut up. It's such virgin talk. Win a game. I get it. You haven't all grown up watching a team win 6 Super Bowls like me. But no one is supposed to care about how many targets a wide receiver gets, or how many catches a wide receiver gets, or how many yards a wide receiver gets, or how many yards anyone gets, because yards are the most irrelevant statistic in football. God, I hate it. So I'm glad that DeMeco had a polite way of answering it, but that's how I would have answered it with Kay. I would have gone on a rant. My eyes would have rolled back into my head, and I would have said, honestly, I'm taking away your title as preeminent football mind, as a strong, independent woman,
can't do that.
because you asked about the idea of wide receiver 1. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Wide receiver 1, it's not a real thing, and it does not matter. It only matters to the egomaniacs who play the position, of which there are many. Guess what? It's a team effing game. Get open, and if you're open and the quarterback sees you, he will throw you the ball. Wide receiver 1 needs to be burnt at the stake, and then that needs to be sent into outer space, into the sun, and hopefully a black hole swallows that sun. And rant.
Oh, you really hate wide receiver 1.
I just hate how everyone cares about who gets the most yards and who gets the most receptions.
No, it
doesn't matter. It does not matter. Win the game.
Yeah, and when, you know what's it's funny too is like a lot of times I think when you talk about this, like you would have, it's like almost like just like who's going to get the most targets, like you're saying, and that's what everyone thinks it's going to be. It doesn't matter when CJ Stroud's your quarterback. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
He's already proven it does not matter how many great wide receivers are on his roster, because look what he did in college. He played at a college in which there was 5 first-round picks on his team at one time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who wide receiver one is. CJ Stroud has said it. Just get open. Whoever is open is going to get the ball.
If you have a great quarterback, it also doesn't matter who the wide receiver 1 is to that point. Like if you're Patrick Mahomes, who's wide receiver 1? Doesn't matter. See, who is Rashee Rice? You didn't know who he was until...
Well, we know now.
Well, you know now you really know who he is. But you didn't know who Rashee Rice was going into the year. Oh, a second-round pick out of SMU? Sure, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll be honest. Like I don't have
crazy.
I don't have much of a rant in there. As
No,
you do
I just hate it. Like,
no, I think you're right though, because it's just a dumb thing that people do. It's very fantasy football. It is a very fantasy football term that's used now, and it really shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter when you have a good quarterback. Like who's the most talented, who's the highest paid. It's about who gets open. The only time it really, really, really matters is if you have a super diva at wide receiver. That's where I think that sometimes they push the narrative more about wide receiver 1. You know, whether it's T.O. or Diggs, I think belongs in this category a little bit from what we saw in Buffalo. Antonio Brown, like Randy Moss a little bit as well. But even like Randy Moss had great years when he was teammates with Chris Carter.
Moss was never a diva about that. Moss was more like he just didn't like practicing. The guys that you mentioned though, T.O., Antonio Brown, and Stephon Diggs. How many Super Bowls between the 3 of them?
0.
Yep. It's all about winning.
I mean, you look at the top, I don't know, whatever list you look at the top 5 to 10 wide receivers of all time, very few of them have Super Bowls. Typically, like that elite crop of wide receivers translates to nothing. Like besides Jerry Rice, Randy Moss has nothing. T.O. has nothing. They have appearances. Even in the modern day NFL, Justin Jefferson has nothing.
It's one of the reasons I always get a little bit nervous about the idea of paying a wide receiver a gargantuan contract, which I know a lot of people say you should do if a quarterback's on a rookie deal because you have the ability to do that. But if you just take a look at it, for the most part, it doesn't generally lead to success. Like it really is still about the quarterback. And sure, that wide receiver helps the quarterback out, but it's a position that, given the amount of targets a receiver gets over the course of a game, that has become, I think, over expensive.
Oh, big time.
But hey, I mean, that's how it goes.
I mean, and that's why, it's like when you look at the wide receiver, like, yeah, some of these guys are going to Super Bowls. A.J. Brown went to a Super Bowl. Jamar Chase went to a Super Bowl. They're not winning it because at the end of the day, all that really matters is your quarterback play. Like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, yes, they're 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but they've proven that. They've proven that you don't need to have this incredibly wide receiver 1, in quotes, for you, talented player to win a Super Bowl. It just doesn't matter. It's all about your quarterback.